partner for 21 years. So super excited to hear from Danny. He does all sports that Upward offers, and most recently he was able to help pilot volleyball. So we'll get into that. But Danny, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Jennifer. I am just so excited to be with everyone on this podcast. Can't wait to share and learn from others. And Upward's been such a great partner for Johnson Ferry for over 21 years now. It's really a privilege to be with you.
Perfect. We are so glad you're here. As we have questions that come in today, as with all the other episodes, if you're on here, take time, put your questions in the chat box, and then at the end, Danny and I will take time and answer those questions. Let's get started. You ready, Danny?
Ready.
All right, let's get started. Today, the first topic is volunteer recruitment and volunteer burnout. That's a big thing that you probably see, as well as our current church partners. We know that you cannot run a successful sports ministry without quality volunteers. So Danny, tell me how do you go about recruiting volunteers for each season?
Yeah, I think you're right. Upward does a great job of giving us all the tools to be great administrators, but the key to our league is great quality coaches. And so we start with retaining all the great coaches that we already have. How many of them can we retain? We also look to them and ask them, hey, who are some parents that you observe from your team that would make potential good coaches? And so we're trying to build kind of a training line, and that a great head coach is training some assistant coaches, but then also providing some names for us on, well, this person, his mom or dad, might be a good potential assistant coach in the future. So that's one of the things we do. And then our church advertises for all service opportunities. We make sure we're a part of that. There's an opportunity to get involved with our ministry serving the Lord. And then we begin, as we register for our league, we also have an application process that we advertise just as much about volunteers are needed, make a difference in the life of a child, and so we market that in social media and that kind of thing. And then I think a couple other things have been a key for us is we collaborate with our other ministries. Johnson Ferry is a busy church with lots of ministries going on, but the great thing about that also is that we can work together. So for Upward, for us, that is working hand in hand a lot with our men's ministry, our women's ministry, and then as well as our college and high school students. We found some success in getting high school athletes that want to come and give back. Often their motivation begins by being a service project and service hours for their high school, but it turns out that the kids love them, and it gives us a chance to train them on how to be an effective coach.
Thanks for sharing that. I love how you talk about ministries helping other ministries within the church, and that it's just not a sports league on its own, so it is a ministry. So I love that part. Let's talk a little bit about this past year. Some ministries, some church partners were not able to host sports leagues due to COVID-19. As they are starting to come back and they're looking to restart, or maybe you're a church on here, Danny, and they're looking to start sports for the first time. What advice would you give them on how do we recruit volunteers?
Yeah, I think one is, and this is just my belief, kids, this is an important time. They need to be back together, and sports can play a key role in that. Of course, different parts of the country, maybe some kids got to go back to school in person, some didn't, but kids need to be together socially, and sports is just a great opportunity. So I think I would communicate with the critical need. Man, we need to begin to have some things so the kids can be together, not only to socialize, but to learn more about who Jesus is. And this is an important time right now. They have not had that opportunity. We need you to be a part of this. I think that I would work hard at building trust by communicating. Now, we're going to do everything we can to keep you as a volunteer as safe as possible, because a lot of people, they may just be struggling with, when do we come back? And so just communicating, hey, we thought this out. We're going to do everything as safe as we can for the kids and also for you as volunteers. And then I think the other thing is do what you can. You may be where you have enough volunteers to begin maybe
on here, Danny, that are like, I cannot ask them to do one more thing. They're in the nursery, they're on the welcome team. How do we manage volunteer burnout, but keep it fresh for what they're doing?
Yeah, I think I go back and paint the vision again why it's important that we need volunteers, but we try our best to respect our volunteers when they hint that they might need a season off. You know, it's tempting for me as the leader to talk them into just one more season, but we try instead to kind of respect that, but then begin to dialogue with what it looks like to come back. In other words, we don't want that to be a permanent break. We want that to be a one-season break. So I think it goes by kind of listening and respecting kind of what they're communicating with you. It has helped our leagues as we've gotten into multi-seasons to not ask them to officiate. And so we've set up, and that's a whole different crowd that's officiating, and that just took some burden. We were finding that even well-intentioned volunteers would be up there half the day on Saturday. Over time, that just leads to burnout. So we took the officiating piece out from the coach. Not everybody can probably do that, but that's one thing that's helped us. We try and reward returning coaches in as many different ways as we can think of. So that's sometimes getting more gear as a returning coach. So, you know, they may get something in addition to their upper coach shirt because they're a returning coach. That's specialized training. An example of that is the Hawks sent us a thing a while back during this last basketball season to participate in a Zoom training for upward basketball. So we sent that to our returning coaches. Hey, you're an important part. We'd love for you to consider taking part in this training offered by the Atlanta Hawks. And then begin to build like, hey, now's a chance for you to mentor other coaches like we talked about before, and kind of keeping that vision in front of them. We're also looking to begin to create more community with our coaches. So as our coaches serve with us for a while, give them more discipleship pieces. So that looks like from everything from, hey, would you lead these 4 coaches through a 10-week discipleship process, to, hey, when we break up for coach training, I want you to lead this part. And so to give them more opportunities to be a part. And then the last thing that's helped us is we don't do this every year, to be clear, but on a few special occasions, like a 20th anniversary, we have designed our fees so that the returning coach kids can play for free that year. So those are some things we do to hopefully head off burnout.
I love that. And I love how you build this community. They're part of something bigger than just a coach environment, that you guys walk them through it, you build this community out. So I love that. And if you're on here and you're thinking, I may have volunteer burnout, or how do I recruit, know that Upward will provide you materials to help you recruit, and we want to walk with you hand in hand. So let's talk about bringing our community back together, our second topic here. Sam hit on that a little bit, as well as Kip. They may have taken a couple of months off. So what advice, Danny, I know that you and I have talked, and you had to do things differently, during those summer months. You had to shift things outside. You had to get creative, but you wanted to keep your kids on the campus. So tell me, what advice for sports leaders that may be struggling to bring their communities back together, what advice would you have for them?
Yeah, I think I'd start where my pastor started with me last spring, or all of us rather, is, hey, instead of us sitting around and worrying and thinking about all the things we're not able to do right now. And for sports ministry, that was a bunch. We quickly figured out what would worship look like. But for sports ministry, all of a sudden our baseball league just stopped, And so instead of sitting around worrying about all the things we're not doing right now, let's start thinking about what are the things we can do and how do we go about doing them. So again, I'd start back there and I think, okay, what can we do right now to begin to reconnect to our community, to reach and disciple people for Jesus Christ? And part of that may be, hey, people are worried about is it safe? And so you work up, and here's how we're going to do it safely. We shifted some things that we did inside to outside. We began, instead of having an adult volleyball league, we had an adult kickball league, because the perception was it was safer outside than inside. So start where you can. And that, again, I know of one church in Florida that they're just starting back with, hey, Saturdays, we're going to do soccer up here, bring your family. So it's almost like when you were growing up and you just came and then we got organized. But what they're doing is connecting with all those families. So start where you can and not worry about the rest.
I love that. So start where you can. I will go back. I think the other episodes too, everybody said do something, offer something, and get your families connected. Get back in the game. Great job on that. So let me ask this: we might have some partners that are on here, or churches that are looking to start for the first time, and they may be hesitant to try a new sport. Maybe they're like you guys. You've done basketball. You started there for a few years, and you're trying to look at implementing a second sport to continue your ministry reach in the community. So what was your experience, Danny? You've implemented multiple new sports over the years. So what was your experience in offering a new sport?
Yeah, it's always amazing. It's always exciting. That's been our experience as we partner with Upward. And again, Upward does a great job of thinking through all the details and testing things so you're prepared when you start. Maybe new to Johnson Berry, but when we started with soccer, somebody else has done it, thought through some things. So starting soccer after having done basketball, no matter when we add a sport, we see two things happen every time. And this is what I would say to encourage folks, is the first thing is you're going to reach a new group of people that you haven't reached. So for us, when we started flag football, after having done basketball for a while, we reached a whole new group of young men that we just weren't attracting with basketball for whatever reason. Maybe they're playing in a different league, maybe they didn't like basketball, but all of a sudden we got a whole new group of people that gave us the opportunity to share Christ with them. That always happens. And then the other thing is you'll get the opportunity to continue in ministry with some people that will now play two sports with you. So instead of, hey, we had a great Upward basketball season, we hope to see you next year, it's, hey, we get to continue in ministry with you these next 8 to 10 weeks. So it's always a great opportunity when you add a second sport because of those two things.
That's awesome. That continues your ministry impact, or ministry touch points, as you may hear us refer to from time to time. A way for you to continue that ministry impact to engage with families. So I love how you're able to continue to draw in families on your campus. So let me ask this question. Maybe you're offering a new sport, Danny, and you've got to go to your church body, and you've got to try to recruit more volunteers, which you hit on earlier about recruiting volunteers. But let's say you're in church and you've been doing basketball, and you have your volunteer base, and now you have to go back to the church body and ask for more volunteers for flag football. Tell me, how do you do that?
Yeah, I think we really start the process way before that. Because again, it's not just about our sports league, it's about our church's outreach efforts to reach and disciple people for Jesus Christ as part of our mission. So it's way bigger than just sports ministry. And so we begin with prayer. Is this the right time? Honestly praying, can we pull this off? Man, basketball was big and fun and exciting, but man, can we turn around and do another sport? And so we begin to pray, and then if the Lord's answering that, yes, this is the time to do that, our sports ministry begins to think about all the kind of the ramifications if we added the second sport. And then we move to talking with some key staff. Hey, we're thinking about adding Upward Volleyball. So we're going to be partnering with you for follow-up, and we're going to try to reach this group. What do you think about that? Who are some folks you know? We'll begin to talk to our key volunteers from other sports. Hey, we're really thinking about adding another sport. What are your thoughts on that? Usually that's nothing but optimism because people have had such a great experience with an Upward sport. But we talk to some key leaders, and then we begin to approach our executive team. So everybody kind of knows, hey, this is important. We've thought it through. We've prayed about it. And now we're moving forward as a team to use this new sport. And so then, with the team on board, then we begin that same process of casting the vision. Hey, I'm not adding up for volleyball to play volleyball. I'm adding up for volleyball because we want to reach 4th through 8th grade girls with the gospel that we're not reaching right now. So we're going to need some volunteers to come alongside us and help us do that. And a couple other things that we decision through game day, through e-newsletters, social media, etc. But one of the things we do is we reach out to some local experts, high school coaches, key people in our community that already knows the sport. And then often they will either help us with the sport and/or help us find volunteers to get started that first year. And that's been a huge part of helping recruit volunteers for the first year. So those are some of the things that we do.
I love that you go, you don't go blindly. You go to the other ministry teams and help them get on board. Let's move to the hot topic of the day, volleyball. Everybody on here is really excited about volleyball. We are excited about volleyball. So Danny, you recently stepped into a pilot role with Upward in testing and helping us build out this volleyball sport offering. Help me understand, what was the response like for your church and your community with this new edition of volleyball?
Yeah, we will all look back on the pandemic and have lots of different thoughts, but one of mine will be gratitude. Because of all the shifting that happened, we were able to begin Upward Volleyball at Johnson Ferry. And it was an amazing pilot experience. So awesome to partner with y'all, with Travis, to help just kind of think through some things and give us the opportunity. But we, again, hey, here's the sport. We've been actually praying for about 8 years about the possibility of volleyball. Folks that worked at Upward a long time know that we've inquired, etc. But we've been praying a long time, and God in His timing says, now's the time. And so it was a great experience. It was our first indoor sport that we did. We hosted a basketball camp late summer, so we knew we could handle protocol safely, and so we approached our leadership like, hey, we think we can offer an indoor sport of volleyball and do it safely. And so we did that this fall. Tremendous excitement from the community for two reasons. One, just excited again to get back together, and two, the hot sport of volleyball was something how we were offering. And so we offered in the fall. We had 82 girls, and then as we began to plan our calendar moving forward, for us it works better to be a spring sport. And so we offered it again this spring and had 124 girls. So we saw tremendous growth, tremendous excitement, nothing but positive feedback from our community. So it's been awesome for us.
Well, thank you so much for stepping into the pilot role and allowing us really to come in and see what works, what does not. You've helped us feedback, so thank you so much to you and your team for that. Let's talk about what volleyball looks like bringing it to your current sports ministry. What did it look like?
Yeah, so what we offered was volleyball for 4th through 8th grade girls, and then we subdivided that into an elementary division and a middle school division. Shane Millard on my staff was the leader of the ministry, did an amazing job with it. And so it just brought a lot of enthusiasm and excitement. One of the things that we heard over and over was it gave girls an opportunity that had tried volleyball before somewhere and not had a positive experience. And that could be a whole bunch of different things. They tried at school and they weren't quite ready, or they tried a club and it was too much for them, whatever the case was. They tried it and had a not so good experience, and then they came and played in our league, and they got a whole new opportunity to learn the sport, and it was a positive experience. Another thing that was, what I saw is it's a complex team sport. It really is, and sometimes it's easy to say, oh, you just hit the ball back. It's the higher you go, it's a complex sport, but it's an amazing sport to teach how to be a great teammate and to work together. And so we just saw this amazing spirit of team, even higher than we've seen in some of our other sports. It was kind of cool to watch the girls come together as a team and really work together.
So help me understand, you guys implemented volleyball. You said you did a fall, then you stepped into the spring. The sports side, you said, it talked about camaraderie with me as well at times, telling me how it was a great team environment, but they bring their families, and the family reach so big. So tell me about the ministry impact that you saw that it had on your church.
Yeah, so one, let me up for soccer or something to come try out for volleyball. But we reached a new community that was interested in volleyball. Volleyball is hot in Atlanta. It's a big high school sport, and there's clubs, and so girls growing up have heard all about volleyball. And now all of a sudden, people are willing to try it in a safe environment. So we reached a new group. For us, 4th through 8th grade girls, reaching them at this time in their life and having a coach be a positive influence and speak words of truth from the scripture to them in that time of their life, we saw pretty amazing things happen in addition to all that team stuff. We had 9 decisions for Christ. Like you said, family came, and we not only shared the gospel through the coaches, but we shared the graffiti video with every family member that came before one of our volleyball. It was just an amazing opportunity for us to reach that community.
Well, did you have fun?
Oh yeah, we had a blast. You can't help but have fun.
Well, that's awesome. Well, again, Danny, thank you so much for stepping into a pilot role and helping us. You are a longtime partner of Upward, and we value you. And Danny, you and your team, you guys are community heroes in our book. So thank you so much for all you do.
You're welcome.
I have some exciting news as the questions are rolling in. Keep sending them in. Danny was so gracious to share with us about his experience with volleyball. And one thing that you guys know, hopefully over the last couple of episodes, is that we want to give you the ministry material that you can make it your own. Just like Johnson Ferry made it their own sports ministry that fits their mission for their church, ultimately to promote Jesus to their community. So I wanted to bring on one of my teammates. His name is Travis Vaughn, and Travis oversees our market research and program development department here. So we are so thankful that Travis joined in. Thank you for taking time today, Travis.
Yeah, happy to be here.
So I thought I have some questions that are coming in, and I thought we would ask you questions about volleyball because we want to know all things Upward Sports Volleyball. So why not go to the person that is helping roll this out? So we're going to just throw some questions out here, and then as you guys on here, new churches, current partners, have questions, send them in, and we will take time and ask Travis all things volleyball. So Travis, let's start. And why Upward Sports Volleyball of all sports? What made you guys choose that?
Well, I got to start as someone who heads up our market research department and state that this is the most requested sport that we've had from all of our current partners. People have been asking, like Danny, for a while, what do you think about volleyball? Do you think we could ever implement volleyball as a rec sport, that type of thing? And so we saw the opportunity of a partner base that already wants to do this sport, and really, one thing that changed in my mind, I'll tell a story for a moment. I was meeting with a partner in Ohio one time, and he talked about how he had a basketball league, and they're the only basketball league in town, and then over the years, now there's 5 or 6, it's kind of a smaller town, and they did flag football for a while, and over time there's multiple other flag football leagues, and then there's they did soccer for a while, and they were all continuing to do these things, but their numbers had kind of dwindled, and they needed more relevance, and so they were asking about a new sport. How about volleyball, something like that? And so we get these people that are asking about how can I still make an impact in the community. That conversation there in Ohio really made a big impact on me, and so that's one of the big reasons we are bringing this as a new sport for us. I think it's the right time for us as an organization to do that, and just a lot of people have been asking about it. Some other things and reasons why we're taking this on now. We really designed this sport to where you don't need as many volunteers as maybe you do for some of our other sports. You can get away with master coach situations if that's what works best for you, and that kind of cuts down on the number of coaches that's needed. This is a sport that can be done even without a referee. Coaches can monitor that, or even players can call in and out, that type of thing from the court. So fewer volunteers is another reason why I think volleyball could be great for a lot of churches. I think that this is going to attract a different type of person or participant than those that normally do Upward. So Danny talked about 4th through 8th grade girls for his league. Really, we are saying that this is good for anyone 4th grade and up. We really feel like before that, kids don't really have the strength to get it over the net and that type of thing in a volleyball type program, but this could be a co-ed league or a boys league or a girls league, any of those type of things that you think is best for you and your community and your sports ministry there, you could run that. And then lastly, this is one of the fastest growing indoor sports for both boys and girls in the country. Interested to see recently a new stat saying that volleyball is the number 2 girls high school sport in the country now, only surpassed by track and field. So, there's just a lot of people doing it, and we want to be a part of that as a sports ministry provider.
So, we're excited about volleyball, Travis. Thanks for sharing that. Tell me, is this leagues? Is it camps? What offering is this?
So out of the gate, it's going to be a league offering, a recreation level league offering for participants 4th grade and up. But camps and clinics are coming. Early in 2022, we're going to release a camp version of this and a clinic version of this. And there could be some other camps and clinics we're going to offer at that time too. So we're working hard as a program development department right now, trying to put all that together.
Well, we're excited. When are we able to start creating our leagues, Travis?
Yep. So by August the 1st, you can come into upward.org or myupward.org if you're a partner, or you can reach out to us ahead of time on upward.org and get a hold of us, and we'll talk with you about it. But come in and create your league. If this is something you want to do this fall, certainly reach out to us. We can maybe get you some resources ahead of time that might get the ball rolling as far as advertising goes, or as far as curriculum, or some knowledge-based things that you're going to need to know as a league director. Those are some things that we've already got created, but just working to get this thing out the door. And so by August, this will be available for everyone to come in and create the program.
Awesome. So 8/1 is our target date for you guys to start logging into My Upward and creating your league. If you are a partner on here and you're going, I don't know, I have questions, contact your ministry consultant. We'd love to help. Or if you're a new church and you want someone to help you with your timeline, and let us just show you some volleyball things. Go to upward.org, schedule a call. We'd love to walk you through that. So you talked about this master coach, Travis. How many volunteers do you think we need to run a volleyball league?
Yeah, Danny might be even a better one to answer this one. We can let him jump in if he likes, but for us, it's going to vary by program, depending on how large of a program that you have with participants and that type of thing. But there is a scenario where you can, not have referees at least until maybe tournament time or something like that, and have a coach dedicated per team, but a master coach that's there at practice that's helping 2 or more teams at any given time kind of go through drills and learn about how to do the sport itself. And so that can really cut down on the number of volunteers in relation to what we have in our other sports previously. So it's going to be less than what you might be accustomed to if you've done Upward before.
Sandy, I know you did the master coach scenario. How many volunteers did it take?
Yeah, I think one something to know is that our experience, and again, Atlanta's fairly hotbed, is a lot of the 4th through 8th grade girls' parents were excited about volleyball, but didn't necessarily grow up playing competitive volleyball. So they were excited, but they weren't super confident about being the coach. And so we had a master coach, and then we had, oftentimes we would recruit a high school girl volleyball player and a parent to kind of partner together. And so the master coach would teach a skill, and then they'd go back. The parent, and the high school, but particularly the parent, we knew could help with building connections with other families and help us in our ministry efforts. And so if you've got a
parents maybe not being as confident in this sport as they are in other sports that maybe they grew up playing more so. You know, I spent last week shooting some skills and drills videos for coaches with some volleyball players and a skilled volleyball coach. So we're going to have resources like that that's really going to be able to help some of those coaches as well this fall, that be able to teach the sport to the coaches, and therefore the coaches can then teach the participants from there.
Awesome. So let me ask this, talking about resources that we have, I keep sending your questions in. We've talked about Project Select, and that is what we've covered. You've heard a lot of people talk about that in the last episodes, Travis. And they talked about how they were able to pick and choose what options that they needed. Is Upward Sports Volleyball, is that going to be part of Project Select?
It is. You know, the whole model now is that we want to equip you with the things that are important for you as a league, and not more than that. Not give you things that you're not going to use, and have you pay for things that you don't need, and really be able to give you the ability to customize your league for however you think is going to be best for you and your community. So, you know, there'll be multiple options for jerseys. There'll be the ability to add shorts or not have shorts. We've got, you know, player recognition, which might mean stars for some of you. That is an option to do or not to do, or even do for some age groups and not for other age groups. We've got options on awards and balls and things like that. So really, you can come in, you can say, I think this is what's going to be best for us, or this is the price point we want to get to, and work the program selection to the way that you think is going to be best for you.
So we're excited. This is part of Project Select. You pick, you choose, a la carte. If you want us to help you build out your package and you are a new church, now's the time. So go to upward.org, schedule your call, let us help you do that. A couple more questions, Travis, while we have you on here. What is the best time to run an Upward Sports Volleyball League? Danny mentioned he did fall, but he feels that spring is a better time for his ministry. So what is the best time that you've seen?
Yeah, I think Danny's a perfect example there. I think it's a 50-50 split between fall and spring, primarily for the churches that we've talked to as a research department, and really looking at other rec volleyball offerings across the country. You know, some are going to feel like it's a better fit in the fall. Some are going to feel like it's a better fit in the spring. Even within our pilot partners, there's a split there already. So, you know, I think either one of those would be the best time to run volleyball, from what we understand at this point in time. I'll be interested to see where the market goes on that.
Me too. So let's say that I am looking at starting this fall, and 8/1 is your launch for volleyball in my Upward. Is that feasible? Can I run it this fall?
I think you can. I think that we'll need to get the ball rolling here pretty soon on a decision whether you are or are not going to take that on. And if you are, you know, we have a website out there that can help get you some more information. That's upward.org/volleyball. That'll get you some more information. And then our reps that, if you're a current partner, can certainly give you some more information. Or if you're not one of our partners today and you're interested in doing it for your first sport with us, certainly you can reach out to us, and we'll get you pointed in the right direction and get you ready to roll with that August 1st date.
Awesome. So I'm expecting a ton of calls as soon as we get off here. Don't hang up yet. But I'm expecting a lot of calls as soon as we get off of here. Help me build out my timeline. Let's get ready. So we are excited about that. A few more questions. I see them coming in. Someone says, I do not know anything about the sport of volleyball. Do you feel that I can still implement this? What about you, Travis?
Yeah, good question. So, you know, remember earlier I mentioned the skills and drills videos that we're shooting. We have built out practice plans for each week that really takes coaches through how to teach the sport. We've engaged with some experts, like Danny has an expert named Eric that works, that has a key person within his league there that has been instrumental in helping us do that, and we have another expert in California. We even have a club here locally that's really spoke a lot into those type of things. So if you're not very confident in the sports side of things, I think we have the things to bring that confidence level up, certainly. And then, obviously we have the ministry tools to help you as well, so that when you go throughout the league, you can be able to engage with your participants in a couple different ways to do ministry, with practice devotions, gospel videos, as Danny mentioned earlier, those types of things.
Awesome. One last question on here says, I am a brand new church. Can I start with volleyball?
You can. There are no rules against that. We'd love to have you come on, and I'd love to chat with you as you go through your league and see how it's going, and maybe that can help other new partners that come behind you that are taking volleyball for the first time and really understand what worked well for you and that type of thing. Us as a research department, we would love to talk with someone like that for sure.
Awesome. So to recap, make sure I have it right. 8-1, I can create my league in my Upward. If I'm a current church partner, if I'm not a church partner, I need to go to right now to upward.org and schedule a call so I can have access to begin that. And number 2, Travis, tell me again, where can we stay engaged with all things Upward Sports Volleyball? You've mentioned to me there's going to be maybe some more information. We're counting down to 8-1. I've even heard you say, and I'm going to hold this to you, some giveaways that may come our way. So we want to do that and stay in touch. So where do you guys go to stay connected, Travis?
Yep, upward.org/volleyball is going to be your spot for that. And as we have more information, more resources, more things that we can release, including giveaways, which I know of one that's coming, for sure, we'll put that there and be able to get the information to you right away.
Okay, so 8-1, upward.org/volleyball. Click stay connected, and we will hold Travis to this to make sure that we get more giveaways and we stay connected. Travis, thank you so much for you and your team. All you guys do, we are thankful for that. As we wrap up here, I do want to close this out in prayer and just thank Danny and his team again for all that they have done this past year in helping us roll this out. As you have questions about volleyball, I'd love to get in touch with Travis, even Danny, and you can run questions by them. But you want to join us back next week. Next week, we have the opportunity of, it's our last Community Hero episode, but it's not the last of Community Heroes. You will hear from John Gillespie and Tyson Willis out of Tulia, Texas. We will talk about how churches work together to co-labor. So you want to go back to the upward.org/hero and register for that, and join us on our last Community Heroes next week at 2. But again, let me close us in prayer. And Danny, thank you so much again for all you do. Let me close us in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, I am so thankful for sports. Lord, we're thankful for activity. Lord, we're thankful that we can use sports as a vehicle to reach families, to share the gospel. Lord, I thank you for Dan. Thank you that he is always willing to step in and help us provide first-class material, Lord, that really helps communities come together. Lord, I thank you for him. I thank you for his team. I thank you that they were instrumental in helping the pilot of volleyball. And Lord, I thank you for Travis and his team, that they will work so well together to listen to what each church needs, to come along beside them and offer volleyball. And Lord, for any church or any leader that is on this call today that is considering using volleyball as another tool to get into the community, Lord, I just pray for them. I pray for the timeline that they create, the kids that they come in contact with, the coaches and the parents that they have the opportunity to minister to. And Lord, may we be faithful, and may you find us faithful. And as we go on our way today, Lord, I just pray that we would think through the importance of sharing your name with our communities. We love you, Lord. Amen. Thank you. I hope you have a great afternoon. See you next week.
Amen. Hey, thanks, Matt. we started checking out, usually the summers kind of start looking at what can you do the next minute. You can have 2 volleyball nets in that gym. And Kip left, and he's probably on conviction. But anyway, usually upwards is for beginners. It's a good way for them to begin a sport in a Christian atmosphere, things like that. And so when we did ours the first time, we didn't have enough for boys league and girls league. We had kind of a co-ed league for basketball, and then K and 1 played together, second, third played together, fourth, fifth, and sixth played together on adjustable goals, except the older ones played on a regular goal. And so the good thing is they have equipping videos for the coaches with skills, drills, and how to give the devotions. And then they've got equipping videos for referees, and then they've got people how to equip to share faith stories and things like that. And other people come up with how to figure out how to do concessions, which is a service to the people who come, but also is a way to help fund the program, So, thanks for staying, and Laura's got a commitment sheet.
Well, actually, it's not necessarily, we're not really at that stage, but I'm interested to know, how are you interested? In what way? Did you see yourself in any part of that? Like what interest level? Some of the things that I broke it down to would be, number one, most importantly, pray. Will you pray for it? Will you pray for how to move forward? Will you pray for the people that will be impacted for Jesus Christ through this? It's a great opportunity. Concessions. Could you see yourself either, maybe not necessarily organizing, but taking a time to be that person who would make sure that we had concessions for each game? That probably would happen on like a Saturday. Setup. Would you be interested in helping us set up? Would you be interested in maybe cleanup? Would you be interested in maybe coaching? Like this volleyball, it sounds like they could do one master coach for all 4 teams, which that's amazing, really. That's a pretty small level of, I guess, volunteer base. And then the other one, maybe even scholarships. I think that they really shoot an upward for it to be a self-sustaining ministry, so that you're not like the church, it isn't coming out of the church's budget. And so they do charge. The kids will pay. I asked about that question, but she didn't cover that. But it can be anywhere from like in the ballpark of 40-ish to maybe $50 per kid, which isn't a ton of money. But we also don't want it to be cost prohibitive, so that a kid who wants to be in it, because I know in our Fort Wayne church there was a lot of poverty, but by the grace of God, I don't think we ever turned anybody.
No, people volunteered to help pay for the kid. I might have been $50 for their uniform and the stuff they get with it, But it's also exciting when they get it,
Yes.
And so anyway, it's just like, is this an outreach that they were rolling it out. I didn't know. I wondered if it was the providence of God that they told us they were rolling this out. We have a gym. The youth groups did this thing, and then with all the volleyball stuff, it's kind of an overlap between children's ministry and youth ministry, but it's also an evangelistic outreach to the community. So we just ask for your coach a team, but the problem with being a pastor sometimes, I'll coach a team, oh, now I got a funeral, or something like that. So, somebody like, anyway.
He'd be a great coach. He's done this. He would. But some of you also might want an opportunity to do that, It was such a privilege to watch, particularly the elder group of people that got involved with Upward. It gave them, I think it gave them a lot of sense of purpose and gave them a great way to impact the next generation. Honestly, my grandparents have been my best people. Look, Celia and Andrew out there being some of my grandparents that have helped me in youth ministry more than anyone because they have more time, maybe more compassion, or more grace because they've lived through a generation, they've raised their own. And so, this is not just for, those that are young or, that God can use us all. And even if it's just, maybe I can't do the actual ministry, but I can pray for it, or I can maybe scholarship somebody, or I don't know, but but it should be pretty self-sufficient.
Anybody got any thoughts? We don't have to be here forever.
No.
Yeah.
Linda.
I'm interested. I don't know in what.
Right. Okay. You just put your name down. We'll find a spot for you.
I think fall is too aggressive.
Do you?
I do. I think because we've never done anything like this before, I just think that we'd be better off if we take our time and plan and scoop up volunteers to learn more about this than trying to scramble and fail.
Well, we appreciate your feedback. Yes, Josie. Yeah.
We've been sick because our daughter is in volleyball, and we would think that spring would be better because middle school and high school. High school, Josie has already been in volleyball all summer, so they practice constantly. When school starts, it's every day and Saturday.
See, that's good feedback.
So we think that spring would possibly be better, so that way, if we can get some of the high school girls involved, or even the middle school girls involved, that would be better. Some of the high school girls do, club ball. So once season ends in October,
They go
straight into
the winter program.
so spring would probably be best.
I saw some of the children folks back there.
Oh, yes. We're so glad you're here, because I know.
Did you guys have anything to say?
They got super
I
excited.
had one thing I wanted to ask. Is there a lot of upward churches?
Competition.
Yeah, is there a lot of upward
When
competition?
they told us, they said, in your area, the only place doing upward is Mooresville. There's a church in Mooresville that does maybe the basketball. But
So maybe that would give us more of a chance. to
nobody
get more
else,
churches involved.
nobody else around here is doing upward.
Because we need more than just a few. Honestly, to make it successful.
Right.
No, we want to hear
No,
your feedback.
right.
We want to hear your feedback. We do want to sell So
Yeah, we do.
it just keeps getting younger. So we do have something for that age group.
That's what, like they said, with basketball, you can do like a 3-day, half day sports camp, you know, and then their sweet spot knows are like K through 5. And so that's something, I mean, you could even think in the future, everything way out. I mean, you'd have to be careful about doing too many sports with a limited number of people helping, but, you know, basketball takes a lot of coaching, refereeing, and stuff. The volleyball, they said, it's becoming more of a popular sport. I don't know, like, kids, unchurched people aren't going, I'm not sending my kid to some church, but if they're going, I would like my kids to learn sports skills in a safe environment, and if they share the Bible, I guess we can put up with it. And then you might draw them in, you know, to where you get to share the gospel with them. So I like their mission to teach kids sports skills and to share the gospel, and I think that's a good balance. I thought it was pretty good.
In the inner city of Fort Wayne, when we rolled it out, they didn't have, they were doing a vacation Bible school. I remember in the middle of Fort Wayne, you would think in the inner city, and they had a vacation Bible school, they might have had 8 or 10 kids show up. It's like, you're kidding. There's kids all around here. But when we offered Upward, we had 55 kids to start. So that just gives you an idea of the interest, and I think it's getting greater. They did have a gym. That was their.
It wasn't a great gym, but it worked.
Right. What was somebody?
But you guys got a great gym.
And then I will say too, I remember one Sunday in particular, David got sick on me on a Sunday morning, and he said, "Hey, Laura, can you give your testimony and here's what I want you to." So I remember standing up in front of that congregation, and there were quite a few families that were Upward families there, and I just remember thinking, this is so cool to see people coming to our church from this. Not only are we sowing seeds, but we may be able to reach people. Now, some of them may go to Baptist church, but we can try.
That's one of the things. I'm for all good churches, you know.
I know.
But I'm going like,
Me too.
But I'm going like, yeah. One of the things they said you have to evaluate with your program for a while is because you can bring your people out. Are we just doing this for other church families in the community? And if all we're doing is reaching kids who go to other churches, then maybe we need to rethink our outreach, you know. But if we are reaching people who don't go to church or are marginally church, where we can share the gospel and invite them into that cone of discipleship, you know, invite them in, then, you know, that's kind of what, that's kind of your outreach, you know.
And I remember we were able to do that at our last church. So
And most people don't have a nice gym.
yeah, or at one of our churches, not our last church. Did anybody else have any questions and/or thoughts, or glad you're sharing? Yes.
Josie's and as well as Caleb both played at Fairview. Fairview at that big church. Name is right there. And I mean, they had a spring summer league, I guess. It was late summer, but my gosh, they had lots of teams.
Really?
Yeah, and it wasn't Upward. It wasn't like we all played in church, but I mean, there were so many teams.
Was it basketball?
No, it was volleyball.
It was volleyball.
They had so many teams that, I mean, we played 6 games against a different team every time.
Was it a church
margins